that was Power Cruise Sydney 2022, all washed out, a bit too wet. So there was no competition events today on the Friday, and it looks like it's just going to keep raining all weekend. But I did get to meet Nelson from McFry Motorsport, so champion guy, awesome car. So check out his YouTube channel if you already haven't. And yeah, I suppose I better get stuck back into my own HQ and yeah, let's get some stuff done. It's another Sunday morning, so I'm going to try and get a few things done today and give you a quick update what I've been doing off camera. Yet again, just little things that keep the build progressing. So a couple of things that have happened off camera. Bolted the radiator to the radiator support after it was all dried after being painted. I've gone through and greased all the ball joints along the steering arms, so they're now all got grease in them. Fans on with the belt. I've connected the heater core and put the cover on it, so that's now bolted up, just haven't put the fan in there. So the hoses are all done with new hose clamps. Yeah, so just progressing along. I've also done a torque check on all the body to chassis rubbers on those bolts, so torque them up. And today I'm going to put some gearbox oil in it, and also the one soft brake line that I haven't replaced yet is the one that goes from the body to the top of the diff. So I'll get under the car and get that on today, because once that's on we can bleed the brakes. And yeah, once it's got gearbox oil, bleed the brakes. Once I've bled the brakes, then I can put the radiator support on, because I'm just not putting it on until so I can access the bleed valves on the back of the calipers. So the beauty of this car is that I can actually get to those bleed valves with the wheels on, and whilst it's here in the jack stands, do that first and then I can chuck the radiator on. So trying to choose the right order to do things in to make my life easier. Part of the challenge. Alright, so we're filling the gearbox with oil, and just want to demonstrate. I got one of those super cheap attachments. You just whack on top of the bottle and pump it in using this, and it just makes life so much easier to fill gearbox oil. So just do it, just get one, so much easier.
Shut up and sit down.
Battery on it. Nothing's catching fire or smoking. Just a fantastic start. I'm going to take the small things when you... There is a coolant leak up here that's then dribbling down the engine. I've tightened a few things up. Just give me my little eyes.
Engine bay.
Not the exhaust.
Just the exhaust?
It's hard to tell. It could just be like you're burning off paint and just like this.
Yeah, so it's all the paint that's baking. Try to run a little bit more longer. Keep that door shut, buddy. It's very smoky in here. We don't want to smoke in the house.
smoke disappear.
That'll do for now.
It didn't catch fire.
Didn't catch fire. Thanks, Wolf.
Can I hold your nose?
Wait, yeah, we'll just. Can you say that to the camera actually?
Go in front of the camera, stand next to the tyre, and say, put your hands like this and go, it didn't catch fire.
It didn't catch fire.
Wow. Very fumey. Thanks.
I'm getting it out.
Well, it's running. It's got a little coolant leak I need to sort out over here on these hoses, but didn't catch fire, as Wolfie said, and it's running. Yes. So the car is running again. It was about 7 months ago was when we disconnected the engine, so been a little while between hearing it make some noise, but yeah, it's good. Has a little bit of trouble idling at the moment. That may be because I got a vacuum leak either from the brake booster line or because I didn't have the PCV breather hooked up to the carby. Either or, I'll be able to figure that one out. It's pretty simple. Other than that, little minor coolant leak to begin with, but just tighten up a few hose clamps and the 2 bolts on the thermostat housing, and that was sorted out. Quite smoky, obviously, because the painted exhaust hasn't had any heat through it yet. And yeah, we're going pretty good. I've quickly just hung the stripped nose cone on the car just to see how it would look and see if it would fit. When I say fit, I mean there's not really much to go off because nothing else is bolted to it. And yeah, now I'm going to work on something a little bit creative, which is making up some bracketry for the overflow for the radiator. So it's one of those universal overflow bottles that fits nothing but is made for everything. So going to try and make that work next to the radiator as secretly as possible. So yeah, let's see how I go at doing this. So this is with the nose cone on. It actually looks like a car again. Well, it's a Saturday, another week rolls by. Last weekend was Bathurst Auto Fest and went there, enjoyed 4 days hanging out with the mates, doing burnouts and car related things. Got a little bit heavy handed on mixing my cordials on the Friday, so yes, a bit of a story to that. But anyways, yeah, so we're going to get stuck back into doing some small things in the car and yeah, see how we go. So on today's agenda, I'm going to try and get the overflow tank mounted to the radiator. So yeah, try and make it as sort of hidden and inconspicuous as possible, and yeah, hopefully it does the trick. So let's see how we go. Alright, so radiator here, overflow nozzle at the top, and I bought this nice black overflow tank. Being a slimline one, I was going to try and tuck it away as much as possible. So here's what I'm thinking. Dropping it down in this gap just down here, keeping the height sort of the same height as the radiator cap, putting some 90-degree angle iron basically down the side here, put a nut into the radiator support that the fan shroud bolts to. So 2 bolts, bit of angle iron, make it run up there, paint it all black, and yeah, make it inconspicuous but hopefully functional. So this is what we got. Spacer, nutsert, bolt to the angle line. It's nutserted to the radiator bracket at the top and bottom, and obviously plenty of room down here for the hoses to come back up, loop up and connect up to there. So the last thing to do is dismantle this and paint this bit of aluminium bracketry in black so it hides in with everything else, and that is the overflow bottle pretty well hidden in the engine bay. Alright, it's been a few weeks, a couple of family things, Bathurst Auto Fest, had a good time there, but yeah, it's time to get stuck back into this car. So today we're going to start paint stripping one of the guards. So let's see how this turns out. So this is where we got up to yesterday with the air sander. So strip back what the paint stripper wasn't taking off. Haven't quite finished. So we'll try and get this finished off today on a nice sunny Sunday morning. And if I can get this back to bare metal, might hit it with a coat of 1K etch primer just so it's coated so it doesn't get any rust. And then I'm going to work on the inside. Alright, after a lot of hard work on the air sander as well as the camera wheel, we've got the front apron all stripped back. Gave it a coat of the rust blast to sort of deal with a bit of this sort of surface rust that was there. I've got it off as much as I can. So we'll see what the painters think. So the next thing for this panel at least, is just this outside face and the outside face of this guard. Just going to give it a coat of 1K primer, just so then it doesn't get any surface rust. And then move on to cleaning the inside of the guards and preparing that. So obviously don't want to leave that sort of just like that. Need to clean all that up, but I don't want this to all be wasted work if I just left it in bare metal and it got surface rust on it. So we'll hit it with some 1K primer, give it some protection, but I thought I'd just whack it on the car just to put the car in bare metal because it just looks tough. And you kind of get a real appreciation of the real deal Tirana from the rod shop, considering that whole thing is still in bare metal and just clear coated. of just how much work goes into stripping parts back completely, and there's no secrets when it's in bare metal. So I'm going to take these off right now, give them one coat of primer, and yeah, let that dry. So the primer is on, and now it shouldn't get any surface rust starting, at least on the front side. Still need to work on the back side, but I'll get around to that a bit later. So the nose cone's done, and the passenger front guard on the outside at least. And this is dirty work that takes quite a while. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep filming all this, because it's just going to be the same thing over and over again of paint stripping, sanding, priming, and storing away till it gets to the panel beater. It's another weekend, and today's agenda is cleaning the insides of these guards. Now they're quite dirty and they've got fish oil on them, and I've read that some wax and grease remover should do the job of getting it off. Also just going to use some dishwashing liquid and a hot bucket of water and clean off as much dirt as I can. But this wax and grease remover definitely does work. So, quick little demonstration. Simple as wax them on, let it do its thing for a couple of seconds, and it comes off pretty good. So, a little bit of elbow grease, and we should have the insides of these clean enough that if they need a coat of paint or to do any stuff, that at least we're working with a clean surface. So let's get stuck in. So this is where we got up to today. It's just a lot cleaner. I also use my little soda blaster to just do some little tricky bits like the corners before I actually start to paint strip. So I did the corners, just a few little spots here and there. So down here in these tricky corners, gave them a quick soda blast, and this channel as well. So that obviously has a little bit of surface rust that's going to need to be dealt with. So I have to clean that up with some product. And then keep sanding and get the rest of this white off. But at the moment, yeah, I just still need to do a little bit more clean and sand, and I suppose a little bit of paint strip. We'll see how that goes. So it's been a few weeks since I've been able to work on the car, with Easter and Anzac Day long weekend, doing family things and then getting sick, and right now I've actually got COVID. So 1 week of isolation at home for me. This is day two of actually being tested positive. Yesterday was absolutely terrible. Today I'm not the best, but yeah, slowly getting better. But something arrived today, which is for me quite exciting. So the courier dropped off a very odd shaped parcel. Something that is a little bit controversial. So I'm gonna unbox the fiberglass bonnet, make sure it didn't get damaged in transit, and then sit it on the car just because I want to see what it looks like. So yeah, let's do that. Well, there it is. 4-inch reverse cowl full fiberglass bonnet. I got it through Street Class Fiberglass in Melbourne, and it was quite a few months worth of wait for him before he could get around to doing it. And yeah, it's arrived. Looks awesome. I definitely like the size that I chose, being the 4-inch. It's not too small, not too big. There was a little bit of damage from being in transit on this corner. It won't focus. This corner is a little bit chipped on this side, even though they had cardboard and bubble wrap and everything on the corner to try and protect it. Clearly it got put on its corner at some point during transit. But yeah, so that will be able to go with the car to the paint shop when it comes time for paint. So that's some exciting news that this thing has finally arrived. And not everyone's cup of tea, but I like it and I think it suits it. And of course I can always go back to the original bonnet when need be. So yeah, I didn't chop up an original full metal one, so I've just got a full fiberglass one, so I can just swap between. It's a Saturday morning, nice and sunny. Marlene's taking the kids out for a few hours to a play centre, so I'm going to try and get some stuff done on the car. Now, one of the little projects I've got to do is make up a little temporary battery bracket so I can have the battery connect to the engine and move the car in and out. But as anyone with a HQ knows, the battery tray sits between the inner guard and the radiator support. Now, I haven't not putting the guards on at the moment, so the battery has nowhere to sort of sit. So I'm going to make up a temporary bracket. So let's see how this goes with my very novice fabrication skills. Is that a bulge in your bonnet, or are you just excited to see me? Yeah. That's a bit creepy. Alright, so let's have a look. Alrighty. So, battery usually lives here, with the battery tray being here and bolt up to the inner guard. So what I'm going to do is make a little bracket that comes off the bumper bar bracket holes. So a bit of bar coming off 90, maybe put some horizontals across to help support it, and I'll just strap it to that. So I went to Bunnings, bought some 5mm by 50mm 2 meter length that I'm going to chop up and attempt to do a little battery bracket. So then you can chuck this battery up here and then I can actually chop my battery cables to length a bit more suitable, because at the moment they're just really long, and then the battery will have a home so I can start and move the car once I've gotten around to finish doing some paint stripping on these other panels. So yeah, let's see how this turns out. Yeah. So here's my little design. So this is the side shot. So bar that way, a little 45 angle piece to help support the load of the battery. Goes down, 2 bolts through for the bracket. That's the top view. So I'm just going to put 2 bits of flat bar across the long bit of flat bar, so then it's got sort of a flat base to sit on, and I'll strap it to that. So let's get into it. so here's the result. I've just given a quick lick of silver paint, but this is my temporary battery bracket. So a couple of bolts, 1/2 inch UNC, and I put a washer just between it and the rail, and yeah, I can slide the battery in, strap it down, should be good. So here's the end result. Battery in, cable's a bit more to length, strapped in with some packing straps on the bracket, bolted to the car, gave the car a little run, started up, and yep, seems to be all good, hasn't fallen off yet. So yep, that passes tech. I think we're good to go. Alright, so that's where we're going to leave it at this episode, and in the next one we'll continue on the paint stripping and preparing for panel beating and paint. So until then, don't forget to check your rev limiters regularly. Yep.
Take the camera off so I can show them something in the car.
Yeah.
Can you all see that this car is so old? It is so old that you can see all these parts. It is so cool. Like you can see everything. You seen it? This car is very old, so we need to take care of our old cars. It's 50 years old and we need to fix this up. We're going to change it to a new colour. Look at this drill, everyone. It goes so fast that you can't even see it moving. If you step on it, it's so dangerous. Be careful of this thing. Put your thumbs up if you think this video is good. This is a very good video.